Jeezy put out an interesting little video where he's talking with Nia Long, and it's kind of like a counseling session, but I guess, I don't know if Nia Long has any degrees or anything in that. I guess it was just a way, somebody for him to open up to. And he posted this on YouTube, and yeah, Jeezy is talking about his life, some of his struggles. He's talking about his relationship with his mother, how it was bad. He talked about how at one point in his life, I think he was in like the Navy or Marines or something like that, and he was on a boat, and he was like a teenager, and he wanted so badly not to go home that he thought about jumping off into the water, just because he didn't want to go home. Our relationship with his mom, she's very temperamental, and he says that might have been because of how she was raised. Jeezy says that might have been because of how his mother was raised, that Jeezy felt like she couldn't give love to him. So crazy, because at one point he talking about she pulls a gun out on him. Jeezy's mother pulls a gun out on him and tells him she'd take him out the world. He do what she said, or she could take him out this world or something like that, and that made him leave home. And he was only like 13 years old. So really, really tough stuff. Jeezy talks about, having to bury a lot of people. He talk about, what does he talk about? He talks about feeling like he's never had complete love without somebody wanting something. He talks about holding on to the hurt of the people hurting him that he loved and tried to do stuff for. He talks about being on tour, feeling good, top of the world, got a good album out, performing for the 30,000 people, and he get locked up. And he say he stayed in jail till everybody else got out. $10 million he had to put on everybody's books to get them out. So just a fascinating story. I think everybody should go look at it. I see a man who is hurt, but I see a man who, and he says as well, is healing and is learning to do better. And Jeezy even talked about he meditates. Like, whoever thought that Jeezy, the snowman, be over here meditating? But he does. He meditates. He said he even saw a vision of his mother, and he apologized to her for not loving her the way he should have at her passing. And I guess because he still felt so much resentment, he didn't mourn her, and he felt like he should have mourned her more, because no matter what she did in his life, she was his mother, and he knows that she did love him, and he loves her. So just really touching stuff. Him and Nia Long, she was giving a little bit of her 2 cents too, but it was more so about Jeezy talking about himself. I did a beautiful thing about talking about men and women and how we need to come together and work with each other, kind of expressing, Nia Long was kind of expressing the women's side of things, how they take a relationship, what they want, and Jeezy was kind of expressing from the men's side of things. One of the things Jeezy was saying is like, men don't really have the opportunity to be vulnerable. Women want you to be strong, and it's kind of when you got to be on that get up and go type of mentality to get something in this world. So it's hard for you to hold it back. And so and Jesus was like, that's why we need our women to be there for us, because women more nurturing. And Nia Long was like, we need the men to step up, be more like leaders, and women don't want to always have to be tough. We want to be feminine, and it was a beautiful conversation between two grown adults. Now, of course, it's headline with Jeezy right now. He's currently going through a divorce with Jeannie Mai, and Nia Long just, it felt like throughout the whole interview Jeezy was alluding to her, but finally Nia Long just asked him, what's going on with the divorce. And Jeezy, he didn't really go into detail, but what he said was, when somebody doesn't want to work on making things better, when somebody doesn't want to work on healing the relationship, and they don't feel like they have to change or do anything, then that you gotta go. And that's a topic they had talked about earlier too, so he just brought it back to that. But basically Jeezy's saying, Jeannie Mai didn't really feel like she needed to work on anything. She just wanted to stay how she was and wasn't trying to meet Jeezy nowhere. And so Jeezy said, hey, look, I want this relationship. I want to be married. I want to stay together. I want our family. But if you're not going to try to work on this with me, it kind of shows me you don't respect me, and I'm gone. And hey, more power to him. And look, I always say, I don't like divorce. I say I don't believe in divorce. I believe in divorce. I don't like divorce. But if it gets to the point where there's no other options, you either going to get divorced or you're going to stay with this person that make you miserable. And you might become more of a miserable person. And yeah, it's better to have children in a 2-family household, but what's not good is having children in a 2-family household with very negative parents, because that's going to create a very toxic environment that will negatively impact the child. So big ups to Jeezy for, being able to recognize that and making that decision. I know that couldn't have been an easy one. And Jeezy even said he heard about it, but he felt like it was the right thing to do. And also big ups to Jeezy just for expressing himself, being vulnerable and giving his life and giving it to us, the fans, and letting us understand him, man. Shout out to Jeezy, man. Like I said, a lot of growth, a lot of maturity in that man. And, you know, whatever he does next, I want the best for him. And I also want the best for Jeannie Mai, too, because regardless of whatever she did or didn't do, we don't know, she's still a person. And I'm sure she didn't want to lose her family. So this is hard for everybody. What y'all think, man? What y'all think about that interview with Jeezy? Was y'all into it? Did you get any type of motivation from it? Was it inspiring? Was it nice to know a little bit more about him?
It's the Wack-Ass Podcast. Yeah.
Talk whack to me. Talk whack to me.
Yeah.
Talk whack to me. Talk whack to me.
It's the Wack-Ass Podcast. Yeah.
Talk whack to me. Talk whack to me.
Yeah.
Talk whack to me. Talk whack to me.